Draymond Green's not in the playoffs, but he sure has a lot to say about teams that are still in the playoffs. Which, I mean, this shouldn't be surprising. It's Draymond Green. He's going to talk. I do, however, enjoy that. Remember, he's new media. He's bringing new things to the table, and that his experience as a player can really highlight the differences between media members and former players. So he went on his Draymond Green show on the Volume podcast network, and he had this to say about the New York Knicks.
In the Eastern Conference, you can get to the conference finals a la the Atlanta Hawks with like playing very mid teams. And so that's kind of what y'all are doing right now. And I think what this is setting up for y'all up for is what happened to the Atlanta Hawks 3 years ago when they made the conference finals and they never got back. Another team to give you some perspective on this. Nope, but 1 second. Another team that did this to give you some perspective on this was the Portland Trailblazers years ago when they had Al-Farouq Aminu, Allen Crabbe, all those guys. They had all those guys, and they went to the conference finals, and we swept them pretty much without Steph Curry. They ran off and paid all of those guys because they thought they had a team that had a chance, and it was a fluke. And so that's what the Knicks are setting y'all up for right now, and it'll be probably another 15 years of misery that we all will sit around and laugh at Knicks fans with their delusion about.
Right, here we go. Knicks for clicks.
That's just what happens.
So, number one, the Knicks are not real. That they're not actually that good. That they're just catching lightning in a bottle, and the East is mid. Which, the East is mid. There's some truth to that.
I can't believe that they're winning the way they are because of the fact they are so banged up. Yeah. And like this is what Draymond Green is going to say is because all these injuries, they eventually will catch up to the New York Knicks. He'll have an I told you so moment. Because nobody can sustain the amount of injuries that they have. And OG Anunoby, even if he misses tonight and misses game 4, he will not be the same in game 5 or the rest of the playoffs. It's a hamstring injury. Hamstring injuries, they linger for it's just start and stop. Like in basketball, start and stop, pretty important. And he will not be the same the rest of the way. Everything else, though, was pretty ridiculous, too. Because he mentioned the Portland Trailblazers, and you remember the great Allen Crabbe playoff performance in the Western Conference Finals, don't you?
Yeah, he was not on that team. Here's your
he wasn't?
Here's your players that were on the 2018-19 Trailblazers team that made the Western Conference Finals. Dame, CJ, Cantor, Aminu, Harkless, Hood, Seth Curry, Zach Collins, Myers Leonard, Evan Turner. Those are the guys who played. Now, Scal, Lehman, and Simons played a couple minutes in victory cigar or getting run off the floor situations, but those were the guys who were playing.
From what I remember, mostly the getting run off the floor situations,
especially against the Warriors. Okay, let's flash forward to 2019-20. Let's see who's on that team. I see Dame, I see CJ, I see Nurk, and I see Hood and Collins. And other than Ant, Gary, Scal, that group, I don't see a Al-Farouq Aminu getting paid in here, and Allen Crabbe's still not on the roster.
Look,
it's interesting.
It's hard, and sometimes you get things confused and you get mixed up. And I will give Draymond Green a little bit of grace on maybe 1 year to the next, but that didn't drive his point home. Because what happened, all those guys did get paid at one point by the Blazers. Yeah. More than anybody else was offering.
A couple years before that when they played the Warriors.
Exactly. Yeah. And they didn't, people even here in Portland at the time, when the Allen Crabbe deal, that was immediate buyer's remorse.
I screamed.
They traded him.
I was in a house in Las Vegas during Summer League with a bunch of other ESPN, SB Nation, and Yahoo Sports writers, a couple team execs and some agents were all in the house. And I went, "You gave Allen Crabbe how much?"
Yeah.
And there were people who worked for other teams who laughed at that deal. They said, "Okay." I would have let him go to the Nets, but okay.
And they eventually did let him just trade him to the Nets.
For more dead money.
Yeah.
The ghost of Andrew Nicholson.
Hey, all-time Blazer great. All-time Blazer bag man.
But, number one, I do agree that the Blazers caught lightning in a bottle.
They were not 100% did.
Enes Kanter played out of his mind. Ramadan Kanter was just a monster. What he was able to do, and then he did what we all knew he couldn't do, which was not defend in space. Yeah, against a Warriors team that spread you out and murdered you.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing surprising about that. That they doubled down on that and like, no, Dame CJ, see, proof of concept. In year 7? It was like, oh God, we're really going to do this. We're really going to do this stupidity. But to that point, I understand what Draymond's saying.
That is so true. But I mean, we also remember the death of Paul Allen played a big role in how the Blazers were managed moving forward after that. And that run bought Neil O'Shea more time, gave him more power, gave him all of the keys to the house.
Especially remember, this is the same series or same season playoff period where Dame eviscerated the Thunder.
Yeah,
he broke a franchise.
Said bye.
And then you had a 7-game series where you won on the road in Denver.
Damian Lillard gave Oklahoma City Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with that series.
You're welcome.
Because he waved Paul George goodbye. Bad shot.
What's a bigger gain? Getting them SGA or getting them rid of Russell Westbrook?
Getting them SGA. Getting them SGA.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing is that people would have mental gymnastics stuck the landing on, well, Russ won us an MVP here in OKC, and they are the Big Friendly, and they would have loved it.
The Big Friendly, that's going to stick, huh?
Yeah, that's the nickname of the city, Oklahoma City. I didn't come up with it. Nobody would come up with that except for somebody quite literally from OKC. There's no way. But I think that it is getting SGA, not getting rid of Russell Westbrook, because he is an MVP caliber player, and it's not because he's collecting triple doubles like they're Infinity Stones and searching for them and hunting them and looking for them in any way they possibly can and losing games too. I think SGA, that dude, building block marker for a championship caliber team.
Solid spot to begin.
It really is. And then getting rid of Russell Westbrook was just cherry on top.
Do you think that the Knicks are fake? Let's say the Knicks are fully healthy. Number one, I believe the Knicks are going to make a move this summer. I think they're going to move on from Julius Randle and one other guy with their picks to try to really cement this. Do you think that they're one piece away from being a title contender?
No, I don't, because they're not just, they're one perfect piece away from being a title contender. Because we talk about like the Villanova crew, and then you bring in OG Anunoby. Those guys fit Tibbs to perfection. There's not very many guys who do it, especially the next guy that pushes you over the top to be a championship team, right? Like,
in reality, that guy's probably Jimmy.
It's Jimmy Butler, right? Who
the problem is they need.
By the way, Miami folks are already saying I expect Jimmy Butler to be traded this offseason. But no, if it is Jimmy Butler loves Tibbs, hates Karl Anthony Towns, and that's why Minnesota didn't work. But if it is Jimmy Butler, like that's great for them. But then all of a sudden they have like a roster that you're sitting there going, Brunson, Hart,
Jimmy,
Butler, OG,
Mitch Robinson.
That's
a pretty damn good team.
But it's not the biggest lineup in the world.
I mean, it is, other than Jalen.
I mean, you're going to be your power forward at 6'8".
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's not, he plays bigger than that, but yeah.
Or you go Jalen, Jimmy, OG, and you go get a power forward, and you
got to get a power forward, yeah.
Which I don't think you need to necessarily go get the dude of dudes, but you go get somebody there.
But how are you going to play Josh Hart 48 minutes if he's on the bench? You can't do that.
Well, I mean, in all reality, I don't think they want to start Josh Hart. I think they'd rather have him be their sixth man.
I love Josh Hart playing 48 minutes. Yeah. Every single game, all season long. He's so fun to watch.
He is. And the fact that he just continues to be like, is he still? He was the best rebounder in the playoffs last time I looked.
He's incredible.
Like, which is insane because Josh is maybe 6'5" in shoes. Maybe 6'5" in shoes.
Well, he's listed at 6'4" on their official heights.
Is he finally listed at 6'4"?
Well, that's been the stat that's going around, is that he's averaging more rebounds per game in the playoffs than anybody under 6'5".
Okay, so 80 is still there. That's why I was filtering it for guys that were still in. So 80 at 15.6, Jokic 15, Jared Allen at 14, Josh at 13.
He's incredible.
13 rebounds a game at 6'4". Jared Allen 6'11", Rudy Gobert 7'1". In between them, 6'4" Josh Hart.
Yikes!
I mean, you go down the list. My God, the next person that's like legitimately smaller than everybody else in this list is Luka at 8.6 rebounds a game, and Luka's 6'7" plus. God, you really have to go down. Ant Edwards at 28th is the next guy who's under 6'7".
Wow. 28th?
Yeah. At 6.8 rebounds.
That's impressive, man.
It really is. Like, you scroll through this, you don't get to anybody else under 6'7" until you get again down to 45th. And that's Tyrese Halliburton at 5.4. Then you got Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray.
Wow.
But like all those guys are basically like 45 to 50. But otherwise, yeah, Josh Hart is right there in the thick of it. That's just nuts, man.
If they go out and get a power forward that fits the Tibbs way,
they need somebody who else is. I mean, the Jimmy thing's the more important. Like, they need somebody else to score.
Yeah,
that's what they need. They need somebody else who can score.
Well, you can get one at power forward.
I guess you could, but who's the Tibbs mindset power forward that's out there? It ain't Paul George.
No,
it ain't Paul George.
It's not Tobias Harris either.
Not Tobias Harris.
There ain't a lot of them that are going to be available because those types of guys are locked up, and they're locked up.
Or do you try to run it back with Julius Randle? Not go all in. I don't know. That's the thing.
Do you think that maybe like this run is one that gets Randle on board?
I mean, he was playing really. Last year he played like crap. This year he played well until he got hurt. Randle has been an every other year guy.
But you sit there and you look at it and you go, Julius Randle's taking a look at what's going on, seeing how hard this team plays and the success and the buy-in of everybody else around, and goes, Julius Randle's not a dummy.
No, he just switched agencies back to CAA, which, for those that don't know, CAA runs the Knicks. Leon Rose used to be one of the power agents at CAA, and he is their general manager.
Okay, I hope CAA gets him to buy in.
There you go.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, there's some lines to connect.
Like, okay, the guy that came to mind when you said that, like, who is that guy? And now he's not going to be a scorer by any stretch of the imagination. And he's still undersized, though, height-wise. But, like, a power forward that fits that Tibbs way is Naz Reid, right?
Yeah, they're not giving him up.
No, they're not going to give him for anything. But, like, that's the type of player that you're kind of looking for, where you can ask him, like, hey, you do your thing on the defensive end, be gritty, go do it.
Aaron Gordon would be a guy that would
give us
incredibly good too.
Give us 12 points a game, right? Yeah. Like, that's Naz Reid for you.
Yeah.
But good luck prying him away from Minnesota.
You know what's funny is they've been linked to Karl-Anthony Towns for years, and now if they are ever going to do it,
no.
Bring him back to Tibbs.
No.
Bring him back to
Watch Tibbs just
murder him,
gnaw him into pieces. Yeah, that'd be brutal.
I'm all about it. I want to see it happen.